Welcome everyone to the channel, and today we're going to go through chapter 1, which is still Security Analyst 101, Secure Endpoint Management. And without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing that we're going to talk about when it comes on to secure endpoint management is hardening system configuration. Now, hardening system configuration is the process of securing systems by reducing vulnerabilities through tightening configurations and eliminating unnecessary components. The key steps in hardening system configuration is disabling unused service and ports, removing default accounts and passwords, applying patches and updates, enforcing least privilege, enabling logging and auditing, and using secure configuration baselines. The next course of actions when it comes on to secure endpoint management is patch management itself. So this entails where it's a process of identifying, testing, deploying, and verifying software updates, aka patches, to fix security vulnerabilities, bugs, performance issues across systems. And pretty much the life cycle of patch management is that you're going to scan for missing patches, prioritize based on severity, and you're going to use the CVSS score. And we'll get into that in later videos, what the CVSS score is. You're going to test in a staging environment, deploy to production systems, and then verify and monitor for issues after you employ those patches. So again, the patch management cycle is that you're scanning for missing patches, prioritizing based on severity, you're testing in the stage environment, deploying to production systems, and verifying and monitoring for issues. Scan, prioritize, test, deploy, verify. Gotta remember those for the exam. The bottom line is, unpatched systems are open doors for attackers. Patch management keeps those doors closed. All right. The next point in secure endpoint management is group policy. This is a Windows specific feature used to centralize, manage user and computer settings in Active Directory environment. It allows administrators to control security settings, software behavior, desktop environments, and more across all domain machines. What can you do with group policies? So you can enforce password policies and lockout rules, disable USB access or unwanted services, push software installations or updates, restrict control, panel or task manager access, configure Windows Firewall, Defender, and update settings, and many other things, right? Group policies are created in Group Policy Management console, and they're applied to organizational units in Active Directory. They're evaluated at login for regular intervals. Why does this matter? Basically for security, because it's the name of the game, right? So consistent security baselines across systems prevents configuration drift, supports least privilege, and compliance enforcement. So this pretty much means it's one flat baseline across all the domain, and all the endpoints that are on that domain, so that everyone is uniform, so there's no configuration drift, i.e. someone doing their own thing and configuring their devices in their own way. Everything is uniform, everything gets its updates, so everything is as secure as possible, right? So compliance is enforced. All right, to the next one. Endpoint security software. So this is software that protects individual devices from cyber threats such as malware, ransomware, phishing, and unauthorized access. These tools are installed on endpoints of a network and serve as the last line of defense. And as you can pick up from the definition, these are like, your anti viruses, maybe a VPN, stuff like that. These are the endpoints, or maybe like, a firewall of some sort. So these are pretty much the last thing before it actually hits the nodes, not the nodes, the endpoints of the network in question, i.e. your mobile phones for corporations, your laptops, your desktops, etc., and other devices. So core functions, as I said before, your antivirus, anti-malware, firewalls, real-time threat detection, application and USB blocking, endpoint detection and response, and policy enforcement and reporting. And have some examples of popular ones like Microsoft Defender, as most people know, who's tinkered around with their Windows device, CrowdStrike Falcon, Sentinel-1. All right. So why does this matter? This matters because you're protecting your remote workers, your bring your own devices, your servers, prevents malware from spreading across the network, enables centralized monitoring and incident response. And we are at the end of endpoint security. So basically, we reviewed hardening system configuration, patch management, group policy, endpoint security software. So pretty much you're hardening your system, making sure that you're turning off services and ports that you don't need. Your patch management, you're making sure that all your computers, your endpoints, whether that's your computers, your mobile phones and stuff, are patched with the proper updates and drivers, etc., so everything is not out to date and stuff like that. Your group policy allows you, so you disseminate all your configurations and that they're uniform across the domain, that everything is the same and uniform. And your endpoint security software, like your antivirus, firewalls, etc., are on each device, endpoint device in your IT infrastructure, so everything is as secure as it can be. And that's pretty much it for this section, endpoint security management. And if you guys have any questions or concerns, leave it in the comment section below. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.